Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Sunday, November 24th, 2019. My name is Rich, and joining me to cover the ANW Germany versus the World Special, I guess you would call it, is Bijan. How you make it out?
Yo, I'm feeling good, man. This was great. I love it. Like, I didn't realize how much I missed, like, the real, not ANW, but Ninja Warrior, like, the big, spectacle, and, like, all the top ninjas competing against each other. Dope. Super fun. I'm psyched, man.
Yeah, you can take the language away. You can take, like, we don't even get subtitles or anything. It doesn't matter. It's still ANW. It still feels like home. Very excited to cover it with all of you, and it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and big thing, man. I mean, I don't want to get right into it or whatever, but, like, I really liked that these courses were brutally tough.
Yeah, actually harder than I thought they were going to be. Had some moments where maybe little segments and things where maybe not as much, but overall the courses were really legit. And I got to say, if I have one complaint, it's the special is very long to get through.
Oh my dude, it never ended. Like, there were 5 chapters or whatever sections, and I think they were all like 20 minutes to 25 minutes each. So it's not crazy long, but it felt like it lasted forever.
I think the commercials weren't counted in that time maybe, and it was adding a lot to it.
That's a good point. Yeah, the commercials weren't added in, and man, the German, whatever television channel it is, they did commercial after commercial after commercial.
Well, they're trying to sell to the German people who according to our VPN, we were very temporarily.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I want a quick reminder to everyone, and I'm going to probably throw it again at the end, but the ANW submission deadline is December 6th, so don't forget, get your videos in if you're applying for the show.
Yeah, it is coming up real fast.
Yeah, so I believe they called this actually their 4-nation special. Japan, Spain, USA, and Germany going head-to-head in pretty much the same format we've seen in the American version. Yeah,
and I liked it. I thought the teams were really well-rounded. They had really good athletes from every single country. Japan, had really high-end ninjas also. So, because I remember, I think it was like 2 years ago or something where USA versus the world and Japan's representation wasn't the best. So, I was glad to see they represented well.
Yeah, I recognized a few of them. I recognized some people from each of the teams. Actually, we had some Ultimate Beastmasters in there. We had a good mix.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look here. We had, and to be clear, we're not going to go run by run because there would be too many runs. So what we're going to do is we'll talk about the stage. We'll kind of run through that quickly, what it was, and then we'll do them in sets of 4, right? So we'll talk about each grouping of 4 that ran.
Yeah.
All right. So stage 1, we had quad steps into Rail Runner, which, if you don't remember, I had to look up these names. It was a pain because they didn't actually put the names up, and I couldn't get it from the language. So hopefully I get these right. So Rail Runner, which is basically, imagine bicycle handlebars on a rail system. You've got to hop it up the ramp and then down the other side. Then Spinning Bridge with a bigger gap between the second and third balls. Those are the spinning balls that you have to run across with balance obstacles. The wing nuts, there's 2 of them. They're pretty far apart. And they had to do a rope climb to get up to the first, like not a huge one, but like a little bit of a rope to get up to the first one instead of just jumping from a platform, which is weird. Wheel flip, which is where, and this is the worst one to try to describe, they rotate a wheel and it moves this whole rig up, around, and down. So it's almost like... I'll never think of what to call it. How do you describe that thing? Like, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It's like a long bar, and on each end of this like long, like imagine a surfboard or something, and on both ends of the surfboard is like a kind of like a circular like a wheel thingy, and the wheel you have to roll or pull to. Man, I'm brutalizing this. I'm not good at descriptions. Yeah, I don't know, but it's cool, guys, and it really pumps you out also.
Right. So then after that, they had Warped Wall, and then a Big Dipper, which ends up onto a single flywheel.
No, but that's the key, man. This thing's crazy. So, like, imagine the first part of the Big Dipper, but rather than getting to that second transition where you grab onto the bar, you basically have to fly through the air a pretty big distance right onto a flywheel. Like, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Then Cane Lane. Kind of a nerfed Cane Lane, but still, Cane Lane is no joke.
Yeah, but, like, in this Cane Lane, they still have to, like, they do that cane, they do, like, going up the thing, but then they have to like jump and do like a 180 to like another bar. And I was like, damn, we're doing this in stage 1?
Yeah, I was kind of curious if anyone was going to be able to beat this course. Many did, but it was looking pretty legit. And then it ended with an elevator climb, which is whatever. But yeah, the course was good. I like, it seemed to be all indoor. The crowd had a good vibe, good energy. The hosts were okay from what we could tell. It's kind of hard to carry.
They had good vibes, from what I heard. But yeah, I mean, we couldn't understand it. But, they were, even without me understanding them, they're still better than UK Ninja Warriors hosts.
It's funny. It is funny. You can't understand a word they're saying, and would take them over Ninja Warrior UK any day.
In a heartbeat, like. Absolutely. And but in particular, this course I really, really appreciated because it was very, very difficult. But this course, and really for a lot of the competition, there weren't these crazy obstacles that nobody knew. Like all of these were pretty well known obstacles for probably all the athletes. And in any other case, I would be against that. But because this is, a nation versus nation competition, I feel like when you look at USA versus the world, it's kind of unfair to the other, athletes that aren't represented in USA because they might not be necessarily used to the obstacles being put in front of them. For this course and also for the entire competition, these are well-known obstacles, and most of the athletes there have some semblance of doing it. Yeah,
they were good overall. There was a couple spots I thought that was a little too height dependent and things like that, but overall a good course. And like you said, some familiar obstacles in there. So taking a look at the first heat here, we had Renee, and I'm going to mess up the names. I apologize. I'll do my best. We had from Germany, Renee Kozlowski. For US, we had Neil Craver. For Spain, we had Sergio Verdasco. And for Japan, Jun Sato.
Yeah, Jun Sato from Japan speaking some English, man.
Yeah, there's a few multilingual people. The sideline reporter, by the way, was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that she was able to, she would be able to speak English to the American competitor. She didn't need a translator. She did it herself through the whole thing. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, multifaceted.
Right off the bat, Renee from Germany beat the whole course without any issue, and I was kind of worried. I was like, oh boy, if we're getting some early, seemingly easy clears, it's not a good sign, especially where Neil Craver came right behind him and did it as well. And then Sergio comes behind that and does it again with no issues, a little bit slower, each time a little bit slower. So it's like, okay, everybody's going to do this course. This is not great. And actually, I was getting bored really fast. I was like, oh, man, this is going to be a long special if it's getting boring now.
That's not good.
It did pick up because we started getting some failures, which is weird because we shouldn't need failures to make it interesting, but you kind of do.
Yeah, you need stakes. Yeah, Japan, Jun Sato failed, right? Oh, actually, dude, this is the one that was crazy. So the competitor from Japan, like... He gets off of one of the like first obstacles. Like I think it was the second one with the handlebar things. And out of nowhere, he holds his arm and the dude literally pops his arm back in place. Apparently it dislocated like his elbow or something. And he popped it right back in place. That was disgusting. But props to that dude because that looked painful.
Yep, put it back in place and let's just carry on. He ended up falling out in the wing nuts though, but props to him for even continuing on after that. But that made me really worried.
Yeah, I really wanted him to just like stop. Like it sounds weird, but like I was like, I don't want this guy to hurt himself anymore. I mean, I am no doctor. I don't know if you can pop your arm back in place, you're perfectly fine. I don't think it works like that. I seriously have my doubts. So I was like, please stop. Please fail or something. Just get out of there, man.
I'm looking at my note here, and I didn't realize how true it was going to be, but I put the Japan curse continues.
Oh.
Yeah, this episode was more of the same, unfortunately, as far as Japan just not having luck at these competitions.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Japan, like the Ninja Warrior All-Stars or whatever you want to call them, they kind of really, like, there is a big gap between them and the rest of the Sasuke competitors. And oftentimes it's not just all the All-Stars being or like flying over and being representing Japan in these specials. It usually is like 2 of them and then 3 other competitors. And yeah, it's kind of tough.
Yeah. But in the next heat, we had from Germany, Ollie Edelman. From USA, we had Flip Rodriguez. From Spain, we had Marco Jubes. And from Japan, we had Masashi Hioki. So I heard a few times through this last man standing. I don't know if they're saying maybe in certain years, but Ollie they seemed very big on, and I heard them say last man standing. He beat the course without issue. Flip seemed to be struggling a little bit at the beginning, but did have a good time and ended up beating out Ollie's time. He said his thigh was swollen afterwards in the interview, which is what was causing him some grief there.
Do you think I mean, it's just me guessing. Do you think this was taped like pretty close to the Vegas finals and he was still having problems with his legs?
I wondered that too, because isn't that exactly where he injured himself? Like, it really seemed strangely coincidental.
Yeah, I believe so, man. But who knows? Maybe he just re-injured himself, and if so, that sucks. But yeah, honestly, I'm guessing they probably filmed this pretty close to the other ones.
Yeah, Marco ended up falling on the wingnut transfer. He hit too high up, and I gotta say, so Masashi Hioki, I burst into laughter. I don't know. I know you have a tendency to skip over some of these things. Did you see his little segment at the beginning of it? He's doing little hand gestures for the heights, and he goes like,
"Oh yeah,
higher up Germany."
So you have to say it out for everyone. Like, he raised his hands like way up high and said Germany, and then basically maybe a centimeter lower, like barely anything, USA. Then he went maybe what would you say, like 3 inches, let's say, and it was like Spain. And then he might as well have just gone down to the floor or maybe into the ground, and he was like Japan. I was like, damn, buddy. Like,
it was funny. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, and he did say, after my run, I'll be raising Japan up. But I was like, oof. Way to bury your peeps.
So he ended up hitting his face at the start of the Rail Runner, which happened a couple times. It seemed they really highlighted it for him.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Or was it him? It looked like he hit it, and then they said there was 2 people. I think it was him.
Probably was. I mean, I just didn't notice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him.
Was he bleeding or anything? Or
no? He, I think he managed to absorb a lot of it, with his arms. But yeah, he definitely whacked himself. There was somebody else too, but he was the one they highlighted, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he ended up falling at the top of it, unfortunately, afterwards. So the top of the Rail Runner, its second obstacle. Just not a good showing.
Yeah. So at this point, what were the standings?
I don't know at this point. I've got it for the end of the next one.
Okay, yeah. I just want to keep, up to date for the listeners that, didn't watch it.
Yeah, Japan had, yeah, exactly. So I just figured at the end of each stage, I'll kind of recap where we're at.
But what I can tell you, everyone, is Japan was not winning any of these.
Yes, it was 0 for them at this point.
I think it was pretty much mostly just USA and Germany going back and forth in terms of wins.
Yep. Yes, it was. Next up, we had the women take the course with Arlene Schubler from Germany, Jessie Graff from USA, Celine Pignolet from Spain, and Ayano Oshima from Japan.
Yeah, so first off, Ayano, she's actually really good from Kunoichi, women's Ninja Warrior or Sasuke, in Japan. And she also competed in Sasuke. She's actually pretty legit. She's not like, world crushing or anything, but she's actually really good. But I was really, really interested in the woman from Germany. I noticed from specials before, like on YouTube and everything, that she was, I'm pretty sure, the last woman standing for this last season of Ninja Warrior Germany, and she was really, really hyped up. So I was very intrigued of how well she'd do, because a lot of people are really like looking up to her, like a Casey Catanzaro or Jessie Graff over there. I mean, at least that's what I could tell. I don't want to speak for what people think.
That was the impression I got from the special. I didn't hear anything about her ahead of time that I could recall, but they definitely there was a lot of hype when she took the course.
Yeah. So in particular, like, how'd they go? Oh, and just one other thing. The lady from Spain, she looked terrified every time they cut to her, like, prior to this. I was like, I don't know how well this is going to go for this girl because she looks so scared and nervous. But anyways, go on.
So from Germany, Arlene, she was amazing. She was really, really good. She just held on to the wing nut, so a little slip up there. With this tough course, she actually was doing quite well, going deep. Imagine it's similar to like a city finals course, really.
Oh, yeah.
And once she got past the warped wall, her team were losing their minds. The crowd was going nuts. She missed the wall the first time, but she was able to get up the second time and fell on the first transfer of Cane Lane, but like a fantastic run.
Yeah, and Cane Lane is a very tricky obstacle, in particular if you don't have a lot of weight, because you really need to know, the swings and the body rhythm and everything like that.
Yeah, I wish I could understand it at times, like especially when she's standing there. She was really happy. The sideline reporters congratulating her. The team's all freaking out, and then I swear, just judging by the face that she made, and of course you could understand the name, as she looked at her and basically like, but Jessie Graff's next, so good luck to you.
I mean, let's be real. I mean, for a lot of those women, it's like, well, it's Jessie Graff. I mean, Jessie Graff at this point is probably worldwide known by all women ninja warriors. I don't want to presume, but I mean, you have to imagine, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. And man, they must have said Wonder Woman like 30 times through this. I was going to say, man, I would have never been so annoyed. They legit, I counted it, and it was at least 100, maybe 1 million. I'm not one for hyperbole, but I'm pretty sure it was 1 million times just repeating Wonder Woman. Oh, I'm not gonna be whatever, but in Germany, Wonder Woman, like, constantly. I'm like, all right, yo, I get it. Like, calm down. The people have heard you say Wonder Woman already. Like, yo. But I mean, what's interesting is they had Jessie Graff highlight like she's the first woman to complete stages 1 and 2 for ANW and for Sasuke. And I don't know, I'd have to like look back at the stats of that, but hey, that's really high accolades. But they didn't show any of that. They didn't show her hitting any of the buzzers or anything in her little video. I just found it weird. Yeah, a little bit. And I think there's probably somebody writing a correction. I'm not the best at Sasuke history, but I thought there was a woman that beat stage 1 before. But she is the first to beat stage 2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But yeah, Jessie took it all down. Not that shocking. She was able to beat the whole course. Not without issues, not without, some struggle. It was not an easy run, but she did it. And yeah, so then it was just a matter of how good are these other two women? The one from Spain ended up going out at the top of the rail runner, couldn't get the bar into the cradle. She was the one that you said looked terrified. So then it was down to Team Japan, who watching a little segment on her, and her name was familiar, as you said. She looked familiar to me. I'm pretty sure I've seen her before. I had some hope for them. I thought, you know what, let's get them on the board, which she did. She got them 1 point. But she ended up going out at the beginning of Rail Runner, so she just got there faster than Celine. Couldn't make the ascent. It was really disappointing. I really had high hopes for her going deep in the course.
Yeah, I'm sure she did also. I don't know. What she showed in the special isn't everything that she's capable of. But sometimes you have a bad day,
Yeah, but at least, I mean, it's the 1 point. I mean, spoilers, but that's the 1 point that Japan got.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But let's move on to the second stage, because wow, like this was the end of stage 1, right?
Yeah, that was it. So at this point, USA is 8, Germany is 7, Spain is 2, and Japan is 1, as far as points go.
Yeah.
So next up, we had. So for the course, we had Broken Bridge into Catch and Release.
We might want to describe these, because I don't know if everybody remembers what they are.
Broken Bridge is, imagine like it's a balance obstacle where you run across, imagine like hanging flags, right? Like they're just running across the top of doorways. I don't know what you want to call them. The to Catch and Release is where there's a long bar and you've got to swing that long. Jump up, grab that bar, and swing it and lock it up into a cradle. Transfer over to another long bar and swing on that to do a dismount. Into the back and forth salmon ladder. Very legit salmon ladder. You've got especially the first part of it, which is a very long jump to get to the far salmon ladder bar. And then bring it back and forth to make your way up the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the next one's called Captain's Wheel, if I remember correctly. It's like a spiked wheel that they have to grab hold of. You spin it until it locks in place.
Oh, it's so good.
And then you have to grab a bar, transfer over to one that's facing you. So you start with one that's sideways, and then you land on another Captain's Wheel that's like a big spoked wheel. Rotate that whole thing, and then you can dismount.
The key, sorry to cut you off, but like this one was like a really, really good obstacle. And the key is that when you rotate it for the second part, there's this giant, and I mean massive, I guess if you think northwest, east, south, and everything, just 4 points. For basically the south and the west point, there's no little spokes in between that, like the rest of the wheel. So you have to do a giant drop. And then basically you have to grab up to the other side of another giant gap. And it was just very taxing on all their arms. And it was absolutely simple, but incredibly difficult. And I very much appreciate that obstacle.
I don't know about simple, but yeah, it's creative.
Simple in design. Difficult. Sorry, not definitely not simple to do, but
yeah, yeah, it's very good. It's got all the right elements that you want. I like the straightforwardness of it, right? You don't have to they don't need crazy rules where you have to force people not to grab hold of something and things like that. This is very much the only way to get across the transfer is to bring down the bar that you need. So you have to rotate the whole thing all the way around to grab the bar to make the transition. It all flows very well.
Mm-hmm.
And next up, and to end it all, we had the wall flip, where you just basically pick up a big heavy wall and flip it over and walk over it.
Yeah, it's nothing. But also, props to you, man. You are really good at on the fly describing these things.
Sure. I'm trying anyway. It's also very late. If I sound a little tired, I apologize.
Yeah, it's legit like 2 a.m. for Rich. So,
so bear with me. All right. So in this heat, we have Tatsuya Tada from Japan, Carlos Katari from Spain, Alexander Worm from Germany, and Isaac Caldiero for the USA.
Yeah, Isaac Caldiero. Is this the part where he had that epic quote?
No, it's a little bit later, I think. But we can play that right now because you know what? Isaac has some inspiring words for everyone that I had to capture to share with you all. Because they did have segments for everyone. Or not everyone, but a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so here's Isaac offering up some words of wisdom.
The team we have is absolutely amazing, but at the end of the day, we're going to do our best, and we're definitely will be some representation of America.
And there you go. I mean, it warms my heart.
It's beautiful. I mean, I'm not one to tease, but like,
so as far as results here, Japan going first. They fell on the second wheel of the captain's wheel, which actually happened to a lot of people. So Tatsuya went out there. Carlos from Spain was a big personality, took off his shirt and ended up beating the course without any issue whatsoever.
This dude's amazing. Like, he clearly, when there are certain people, they just go on television and they're just brimming with charisma. Like, there's nothing they're doing, but just something about them, just draws you in. And man, did this guy have it in droves. He looks completely different from everybody. He doesn't even look like an athlete, kind of. He just looks like this lanky dude with like crazy hair and wearing glasses and just all this stuff. And he is just so damn charismatic. And he was super entertaining. I love this guy. Like, man, he's got to be a star for ANW Spain. ANW Spain? Ninja Warrior Spain.
Yeah. There are a few in this episode that I could watch all day long, even having no idea what they're saying. They were just that entertaining. Alexander was flying through the course, had a 122 time, no issues whatsoever for Germany. So then it was all down to Isaac, and it's like, so how's Isaac going to do? Not so great, actually. He ended up struggling on the captain's wheel and fell on the second wheel just as the competitor from Japan did.
Yeah, which is surprising because the captain's wheel is the one obstacle on this course that would be in his wheelhouse. It's based entirely off of grip strength and how much you can, basically pump yourself out and still have enough, endurance to, move on. And you'd think the championship rock climber would do it. And I'm not trying to throw shade. I was just really surprised that this was where he fell.
Yeah, because as much as we might throw a little shade here and there, I respect Isaac's skill levels at what he's done. Mm-hmm. I really wouldn't have thought he'd go down there either. It was really shocking. But he did end up getting third place there. So the next heat we had Tomoshiro Kawaguchi from Japan, Iris Matamoros from Spain, Slodijan Julebic from Germany, and Jamie Rahn from USA. They might. This guy, I mean, Slodijan was one of my favorites on the whole show. He was fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
But I was excited to see Tomo because he's one of my favorite ones from Japan. Yes. And I know he's really, really good. Super good looking also. Just ridiculous. I'm like, damn. I look at people like him. I'm like, I wish I had hair again. Like, damn. He ended up falling on the second captain's wheel too, in same at the same spot as Isaac and the other competitor from Japan. It was like, man, like I had really high hopes for him. He has gone like stage 3 multiple times. Yeah. Very, very strong competitor. He's like, I mean, I'm not. This is going to sound bad, right? But when you look at like the team usually for Sasuke or Japan, they tend to be smaller competitors relative to the other competitors. But for this guy, he's almost as built, if not bigger built than a lot of the Americans or Germans or Spaniards. Spaniards? Yeah. So... yeah, if I guess if you were to pin like, size makes a difference in these competitions, he's the one where it's like, no, because this dude's just as big as all the other guys. Yes, he is. So then it just mattered how far did everybody else go. Iris looked very solid, no issues, ends up beating the course. I was really impressed with him. He was very legit. And then this Slodijan guy that I mentioned, He had really no issues. He powered through the end of that whole thing. Very, very big personality, and we saw more of him later, really eating up the airtime.
Yeah. But what was it about him that really caught your eye on in this particular thing? Like, was it a certain thing that he did, or what?
Not at this point. It was later that he really started to get my attention. So at this point, it was like, oh, okay, he seemed charismatic. Like, he had a big smile, and everybody seemed to like him. So I kind of got that he was a fan favorite, and just kind of noted him. Plus, struggling with the name, I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be fun. So he kind of stuck out for me for that reason. But later, when he starts grabbing the mic from the sideline reporter and playing off with her, I thought he was just really entertaining.
This is the guy with the 8-pack, right? Like the chisel-built 8-pack. Like, I've never seen an 8-pack like this in my life. Like, just zero body fat.
Yeah, he's like giving Tremaine Dortch a run for his money. Like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Jamie Rahn took the course. And I really think that Jamie Rahn is the big star in Germany because they gave him a lot of focus, and I accidentally started watching the celebrity edition instead of the Germany versus the world episode, and he's on that. He's the only one on that I noticed. Like, they really seem to hone in on him.
So Jamie Rahn's the celebrity in Germany, huh?
It seems that way. Him and David Hasselhoff are killing it in Germany.
Oh, was David Hasselhoff in the special?
No, you didn't know that. That's a whole... Yeah, it's just a...
No, I know about David Hasselhoff and everything for Germany, but I was... Dude, you got me so excited for a second there. I'm like, yo, what are we doing covering this? Like,
Yeah, I would have watched that whole thing. But yeah, Jamie crushed it. I liked his, like, celebrate. He was really into it at the end, dancing it up and really hamming it up.
Oh, yeah.
So that was it. USA took number 1 in that one. Great job by Jamie. The next
oh damn, was that just one round? All right, we need to go through this quicker.
Yeah,
I just realized we just
we're getting there. So no, that was the second round for the stage 2. So the last round for stage 2 was Yusuke Morimoto from Japan.
Yes.
Javier Cano from Spain, Max Sprenger for Germany, and Drew Drechsel for USA. So this is the all-star heat here.
Yeah, this is the big one. This is like everybody putting all their team captains of the big wigs up, you know. Max Springer is definitely no joke. He's the one from Ultimate Beastmaster, right?
Yep. Yeah, he was on season 3. And Javier Cano, we've seen on USA versus World on Team Europe as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Drew Drechsel. I mean, what you don't need me to tell you about Drew Drechsel. And I was just so excited for Yusuke Morimoto. I'm like, yes, finally. This dude always, like, I feel so bad for him. Every special, he's like the team captain for Japan, and he's the one that always, like, has to, like, you know, hold up his team, you know? And if I remember correctly, he's actually the first competitor ever to complete stage 3 for ANW, like, on their special, right?
Yep. Yeah, he was the first person to beat stage 3 in America.
So take that, Americans, I guess.
That's right. Didn't win that heat because he didn't do it as fast as the person getting behind him and did it, who I think was Brian Ardle, if I remember correctly. But yeah, still was first. Anyway, so he took the course and he
realized, I'm sorry, but just once again, a Wolfpack member does it the second time and faster, you know?
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
So he stumbled on the bridge, which was not a good sign. He was making great time. He seemed really, really solid, but ended up missing this on the second captain's wheel and falling.
I mean, that's the story of this whole thing, you know? And I really like it. I really hope we get to see the captain's wheel again.
The next guy, though, oh my God, this next dude, Javier, for Team Spain. The lock-off strength and grip strength of this dude on the captain's wheel. Like, he didn't get through it smoothly. Like, other people were getting through it, you know, efficiently. But he started to struggle, and then he would just hang by one hand from this bar that's, like, facing vertically.
Yeah, imagine, you know how Cane Lane is like, well, it's not even fair for Cane Lane because there's some bend, but just anything just going straight down a pole and you're holding on, and that is the hardest thing to do, grip-wise. And he's just doing it like it's nothing in one hand.
Yeah, and then locking off on just the one hand to grab the other one. Like, other people boosted themselves up and grabbed it quickly. He was just hanging there from that one hand, locked off and grabbing the other bar. It was nuts.
And he did that lock off like after what must have been like a half a minute, just hanging by one arm, like on that thing. Like, wow.
It was really something. He was able to beat the whole thing. Not surprising after that display of strength. So then it went to Max Springer, who we had, were very up on from Beastmaster, who's one of the better competitors there. But he ended up going out on the captain's wheel as well. It's like, what the heck is going on? Like, that's like, if there was a ninja killer for this episode, it was that.
Mm-hmm.
So finally it comes to Drew Drechsel, and it's like, all right, let's see how fast this course can be done. And Drew did not disappoint.
Nah, he, like all the other competitors were doing it in like 3 minutes or 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Do you have I know the number that he finished in. Do you know it?
It's 103.
103, y'all.
Yeah. And there was no question when you watched it that there was just a whole other level. Like, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, like, that back and forth salmon ladder, like the other guys would like grab it, position themselves, and go from one to the other. This dude just jumped on, swung immediately, and one like to the other side like in one go, and then basically skipped all of the rungs and went all the way to the top of the other side, and then transitioned to the other side. Like, he did it in 3 rungs or swings or whatever for most people, where most people did like 7 or 8.
Yeah, the other competitors and the commentators and stuff were just laughing at points because he was so ridiculous. Like on the captain's wheel, where everybody's struggling, he just quickly grabs the bar and flings himself off, and it's just people just shaking their heads like, oh my God, who is this guy? Yeah,
like, what do you even say to that? You can't even keep up with like commentating at that point.
So after this round, after the stage 2, we are looking at a scoreboard with USA at 15, Germany second at 12, Spain is coming up behind at 7, and Japan still has the single point.
This is where they get eliminated, right? Because
that's right. So just like in USA versus the World, the last place team gets eliminated at this point. So that meant Japan was done for the night.
Or Japan.
It's brutal. But then we moved on to stage 3. And for stage 3, we had a lot of familiar obstacles. We had the floating boards. I don't think I have to describe that, I hope. The curved body prop, which also I think you probably know what that is.
Yeah,
ultimate
this is very familiar.
Yeah, ultimate cliffhanger. It's a little, it's laid out a little differently, but it's very familiar. Peg cloud, I will describe that one. So it's where it's pictures like birdhouses, basically, and you've got to move the peg and like grab hold of them. You got some little ledges on the birdhouses you can kind of put your feet on to rest a little bit, but it's a little tricky. You're gonna kind of
it's where Joe Morosky fell like what 2 seasons ago, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Then the time bombs, which are, I'm going to say this little. Do you think you can describe it better?
No, I was about to say. I think this is actually where Joe Morosky fell.
Yeah, I think
it's just the other ones. He struggled through, but these ones are really, really, really tiny little. Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name, but those little things that you swing around when working out. Man, I'm not good at this stuff. Go ahead.
It looks like a little kettlebell.
There you go. Kettlebell? Yeah, they're like little tiny kettleballs that you gotta put in these little.
There's hooks hanging down from the ceiling.
Yeah. Man, if I had to do this, wow. This podcast would be the worst.
You gotta hook the rings onto the hooks and make your way across. And then Deja Vu came after that. And I don't know if there's something after that because we didn't get to see anyone actually beat it. So,
dude, this course was brutal. I mean, when you really think about it, almost every obstacle in this is designed to completely wear out your forearm and your grips. I mean, for this, I call this course just the finger destroyer because, man, I mean, I feel like they're putting way too much pressure on people's grips and hand strength. But I mean, for people like Isaac Caldiero and well, Yusuke Morimoto would have been great at this too. But people like them with a background of rock climbing, I feel like it really goes into the wheelhouse.
Yeah. So in the first heat, we had Sergio Verdasco for Spain, who was the first person to grab the liquid chalk at the beginning of the cliffhanger, which kind of warped my head a little bit.
That. Dude, like, I've never seen it, but everybody went to it, and I was just like, how does that work? What? Whatever.
It seems like the opposite of what you'd need, but I'm sure it's some little magical substance that'll become chalk, basically. He ended up going out at the end of the cliffhanger, trying to... it's got a weird transition right at the end. They've got to jump sideways, basically like a wing nut, and land straight on with the other cliffhanger at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a spot that a few people went out. Alexander Worm for Germany was doing really well. He messed up the dismount of Deja Vu and slid back into the water, unfortunately.
That was brutal. I mean, he finished the entire thing and just hit, like, literally him landing. You just see him kind of just slowly slide. You're like, no!
It was kind of graceful, though, too, the way he fell back in. He just kind of glided in like he was diving in on purpose, almost.
Yeah.
And the third competitor running is Drew Drechsel for USA. And, Drew ended up falling at the end of the cliffhanger, the same spot.
Who would have seen that coming? I mean, I just assumed, like, I was kind of glazed over. I'm like, all right, come on, get to it. Like, you just assume he's going to do great.
Yeah, totally fell for that. He said his left hand didn't quite get over the top of the ledge fully, so that's why he ended up slipping off. We had some weird, like, kind of fast forwards next in this next heat.
I'm all for it. This special is going so damn long, man.
At this point, we're pretty far in. Carlos Qatari from Spain went out on the cliffhanger, as did Renee Kozlowski from Germany. And that left Jamie Rahn, who looked like it was going to be a fast forward, but then it kind of became a full segment. He ended up falling on Deja Vu. He made it very deep, as far as anybody else on the course.
Yeah, he did really well, and he looked really strong and calm for these really tough obstacles. Really speaks to, like, it makes you think, like, man, I really want to see Jamie Rahn on stage 3 now, like, see what he's got. Yeah,
this has got to be great, like, training for them too, right? Like,
oh yeah,
traveling over there, getting the pressure of stage 3, getting to kind of do some of those big obstacles, full legit versions of them, not like, nothing against the gyms, but a lot of times they can't replicate some of these bigger, crazier obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
So then in the last heat, we had Iris Matamoros from Spain, who fell on a backwards transition of the cliffhanger. And Slajan Julebic from Germany, who peeled off Deja Vu. So in the previous interview with him, he kept taking the microphone from the silence reporter, so they got him his own microphone. And that dude that's the guy that was saying was so crazy ripped.
Yeah. I mean, it was super funny, first off. I mean, him just be like, yo, this is my mic now. And
yeah.
Yeah, but I gotta say, I couldn't just stop looking at his abs. I mean, it's a thing of legend. I mean, y'all just need to see this.
I literally screenshotted it. And then we had Isaac Caldiero take the course, and it's like, all right, so this is his wheelhouse. This is definitely where we're going to get to see him crush it. I was rooting for him. I honestly was. I thought, let's see him do what he can do.
Yeah, this is the part where Isaac, wins it for Team America. Because at this point, I'm trying to remember. I think they might have been behind, or it was like 1 point. Somebody had like 1 point above the other, but it was very much neck and neck between USA and Germany.
Yeah, it was. He didn't notice the buzzer at the start, which was not a great way to start the run because he was just standing around when he could have went.
That was so funny. He like does his thing at the front, thing, and then they literally just like they showed it, and it's just like awkward silence, and everything's awkward, and then Flip's like, "Go." They sounded the buzzer, go. He's like, "Oh really?" It's just
like, why leave that in?
It was so funny.
It was kind of funny though. Yeah, it was his runs. Everything about his runs were kind of oddly funny. Like, So he's doing the splits at the top of the body prop, and Neil Craver starts laughing and saying he can see up his shorts. Like, it was just really weird moments like that throughout his runs.
I did not I did not hear that part, but that's a thing.
Yeah. He ended up failing the cliffhanger transition. He fell on the definitive climbing obstacle.
I don't know, man. Maybe it just wasn't his whatever, year or whatever.
I guess that of like never in a million years would I have thought that.
Yeah, pretty surprising.
So at the end of this stage 3, we had USA at 21, Germany at 21, and Spain at 11. And
so just oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think we're on the same page. Is like, why does this always happen?
Yeah.
It seems almost rigged, but how?
I mean, they can't rig it, but yeah, I mean, it's always a tie, and it's always coming down to, stage 4. Pretty crazy. And it always comes down to the god-awful version of stage 4, I might add.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have a climb off, the everybody's favorite rope climb to decide everything. Alexander Worm for Germany and Drew Drechsel climbing for USA, which I guess Isaac's having a bad night, so maybe that's the way to go, but I was a little surprised they didn't pick him.
Yeah, I was going back and forth. I'm like, Drew, yeah, I mean, it's Drew, but it's Isaac Caldiero, you know what I mean? Like...
It's the rope climb. It's kind of what his thing, right?
It's kind of what he's known for. Like, every picture or video you ever see of Isaac Caldiero, what's he doing? He's doing that, the rope climb.
Yeah. All right. I was like, all right, well, let's go. I like how they had the buzzer placed above the platform and sideways. I thought that was actually really good.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So, guys, one thing that I've always found kind of weird is that the buzzer at the top of the platform for stage 4 is on the ground in a position where the competitors can't really see it. So, a few times in Sasuke, they get up to the top and they're just like slapping around, trying to get it. I'd have to look back, but I feel like Jeff Britton also in his ascent, didn't he hit like the side of the buzzer and then hit the buzzer? Or was that maybe somebody else?
That was him. He kind of glanced off at first and then hit it again. It was like a fraction of a second, but still.
So for this one, it's hanging above. It's not hanging like greatly above where they have to climb a whole lot more or anything, but it's to the point where while you're ascending, you clearly see where the buzzer is, and you can clearly like go up and grab, like hit it. So I think it's 100% a better, I guess, modification. Simple, but really effective. And in my opinion, it just makes for better television.
Yeah, agree with all that. So Alexander does the climb, and he's able to do it in 28.91, setting a good mark for Drew to try to beat.
Yeah. I mean, that is no joke. I mean, it wasn't like, oh yeah, Drew's got this. I was like, oof, I don't know about this.
Yeah, that's gonna be tight. And it was. Even Drew climbed this thing basically without using his feet for the most part, just flying up it initially. Ends up actually bringing home the win with a 27.95, beat him by just under a second.
Yeah, just under a second, and the first half flying up, but what you usually see when people don't use their feet at the beginning is completely burned out. I feel like on the second half he was going slower than the other guy, but I mean, that's just me guessing. But
no, I think so
yeah,
too.
he was able to tough it out and get through it.
All right, so Team USA, go USA, brings home the win in this first. I don't know if this is the first time they've done it or not, but it was a good special.
Yeah, it was a good special. It was really, really well shot. It was very professional, and the obstacles were just as well built as the American versions. This isn't some low-rent version of Ninja Warrior. This was super, super legit. And I really had a very enjoyable time with this. This was really good stuff. Guys, if you have a VPN, you can stream it straight from the whatever website it is. I mean, just Google Ninja Warrior Germany, and they have the entire series there for streaming for free. And if not, there are websites. If you don't have a VPN, there are websites where you can just type in a website and be like, hey, I'm in Germany now, and all of a sudden you'll be able to stream it for free. So there's ways of watching it.
Yes, and if you are a young kid, please make sure you check with your parents before doing any of that.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't just be like, hey, go do this, shady stuff. Yeah. Thank you, Rich.
All right, so that is it for our coverage of ANW Germany. Before we call it a night here, Bijan, do we have any 5-star reviews this week?
Yes, we do. Oh, man, I haven't read this yet. Let's see. It's by Tap19 Noob. What an amazing name. But all right, this is what Tap, he or she's got to say. Love it. I love this podcast. I watch A&W every week, and I love it whenever Bijan does rants on everything he hates about A&W, like the Stage 4 rules. LOL, keep it up, guys. Well, I'm about to do a rant right now. Tap 19 Noob, I love you. You're amazing. Yes, I love it. You love it. Yes. Ninja Warrior rocks, and sometimes they are a massive, massive pain in the butt, but you know what? It's all good times and all good loves. Sending good vibes to you, my man, or my lady, and yes, I will do a rant whenever stuff sucks. So, with that said, Tab19 Noob, you are the 5-star review of the week. Thank you. And rate us 5 stars on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts downloaded.
That's right. If you do, you could have an epic rant of your own from Bijan at the end of one of our episodes. And if you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach me as rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up on Instagram and Twitter at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151. Mostly it's Instagram nowadays. I can't even tell you the last time I checked my Twitter.
All right. Thank you all so much for listening, and have a wonderful week.
Peace, love, and deuces, y'all. My throat is completely gone.